Hey, this is Pamela Schneider. I'm the retail editor for Blue Book Services, and this is the Produce Reporter Week in Review. Greg, I don't know about you, but quick weather report, it's bad.
It's pretty cold. Yeah, I took my dog out during the warmest part of the day at 18 degrees.
Yeah,
So
I'm looking outside and there's like frozen stuff. My tree is frozen again. We thought we made it through the last freeze. Yeah, this is not ideal. I did go to the store to check and see how Texans were responding to the French toast forecast. Because I can recall last year, a lot of people didn't take the freeze seriously and didn't realize that, yes, in fact, you have to go to the store before all of this happens. So, if you recall, I was handing out food to my neighbors. This time, they stripped the HEB bare. There's
very
like
impressive.
Not much left. Vegan cheese, there was vegan cheese left. But in its defense, HEB was actually out there. It would look like the day before the storm hit was all hands on deck. Like they called every person in who was off and said, we got to get everything out there. Costco was the same. Walmart was the same. So we seem to take it a little more seriously, and doesn't look like a lot of the shortages that we had last time are happening this time. And also, hopefully this is gone by the end of the weekend instead of a week this time.
Yeah, and you have power, so
yeah. Yeah, that's actually, I didn't have power this time last year. So this week we had a lot of interesting restaurant news, I thought. And to start it all off was the National Restaurant Association released its State of the Industry, and these broad sweeping reports have a whole lot of really interesting insights in them. A couple of trends we've seen and that we've talked about. What stood out to you?
Well, the overall theme was 22 is not going to get back to where it was pre-pandemic. And, almost everyone said supply delays and shortages and increasing costs are going to prevent that. But there were a couple of things that stood out to me in here. One is the labor situation, and it's really bad because even if restrictions start to lighten across the country and when the weather gets better, consumer demand is going to be up, and people are going to want to go back to restaurants and get more takeout. And the restaurants are going to have a big problem because the labor shortage is hitting them, and that's going to be something that's going to restrict them from growing and getting back to where they were. And certain areas are even worse. I mean, quick serve is going to be worse hit by that because it pays the least. And that's what's going to keep this from rebounding as much as it could. Another key point that I thought was interesting was the focus on takeaway, which is a really good thing because technology has improved the quality of takeaway and takeout food, which is a very good thing. And technology also, as far as ordering and even some in-store stuff is really a good thing. And it's good to see the restaurant industry embrace that as one of the solutions that they can keep their business models going.
Well, and we've talked about this over and over. It seems like week in and week out, all of the innovation that is being driven by necessity. I mean, there were people kicking around ideas like this a couple of years ago. Service robots, for example, having a robot actually deliver. I actually saw a video of it after we posted the story about robots delivering in place of a server. And somebody on Facebook shared a video of a restaurant in Chicago that's got one. And then we also saw this week, I think it was this week or last week, is that Panera nationwide is launching where you just order on the app and go in, and you're still going in to sit down and eat in Panera, but you're just not going to talk to anyone. You're not going to have to stand in line at the counter. You just go pick up your food and go sit down by the fireplace. If that one coveted fireplace spot is open at the Panera, that's where everyone wants to sit, especially today, right? But to see that this innovation is being driven by and it's not the lofty state of the industry ideas. It is like happening today, right now. And so we have concrete examples of how restaurants are evolving and changing to try to solve some of these problems that we have. We even have one of my favorite stories this week was kind of a rounded around news release with a lot of catchy words in it. But the gist of it is Simon, if you know what Simon is, And as any good Gen Xer knows, Simon is the company that runs malls. They are partnering with Kitchen United to basically retrofit food courts into ghost kitchens to where you can order multiple different types of food, like banners of food. So your Sbarro, there's a Gen X favorite. I wonder if they have Orange Julius. But just think of our old standbys, but it's probably more like Panda Express and something else like that. But to have the Kitchen United go into the Simon malls and have the option to either pick it up and eat it at the mall, which I'm sure they are, like, fingers crossed, hoping that people will do, because malls are not doing great right now. Or they will have it as a delivery option or a take and go kind of thing. So doing it for a couple of reasons, because I don't know if you've ever seen the Dead Malls website where it shows all of the dead real estate that used to be occupied by malls. But we've also got all of these kitchens from food courts. So the infrastructure is already there. This seems like a huge no-brainer to me, that it seems efficient. And hopefully the mall is probably hoping that people will come in and maybe spend some money and spend some time walking around. Who knows? But I thought it was really fascinating to see that they're doing that.
Well, I wanted to make this about my generation, of course, Gen X and yours, where we grew up going to malls and we had movies about malls. Fast Times was about a mall in the early mid 80s.
Mall rats.
Mall rats for the 90s folks. Malls are a big part of our childhood and growing up and our experience. And it's not the place for us now, but as the father of high school daughters, they do want to go out and hang out with people places, and there aren't as many options to do it. I really could see them embracing a mall type situation like that, because the malls are already there.
Yeah.
And they're not afraid to hang out with each other.
No, my 13-year-old, I took him and his buddy to the mall not too long ago, where his hair barber person was in the mall. So that's our experience with it lately. And it's a little quiet, a little quieter than it was 10 to 15 years ago. So maybe this will help revitalize those spaces. And I've seen a lot of, it's not all Halloween Express going in there in the empty stores. There's a lot more innovation of pickups and trying to find places for people to gather, because people honestly are looking for places to go. And where is a safe place for, preteens, teenagers to go hang out? And that used to be the mall. Is it the mall again? And now they could just order food from an app and pick it up and hang out in the mall there. Why not? It seems like a fun idea, and an interesting way to innovate and try to drive more traffic into these places. So well,
that's one of the data points in the restaurant story is it said 54% of adults say purchasing takeout and delivery is essential to the way they live, but it was 72% of millennials and 66% of Gen Z. I would really expect that Gen Z number to rise, because a lot of Gen Z still isn't feeding themselves regularly. And with it being that high for millennials, I think that concept is going to work at multiple places. And why not try something like a mall or any of the ghost kitchen concepts? There are so many out there that are going to shake out, but some of them are going to stick.
Yeah, for sure. Well, just before we wrap it up this week, for apparently we've gotten a lot of fun swag lately. Envy Apples, for example, sent us some fondue kits. I'm about to have some fondue here. Perfect weather for it. But Bard Valley Natural Delights, apparently it is National Medjool Date Day, and these swag kits for influencers. I don't know if I would consider myself that much of an influencer, but they sent little fun things, like a little 9. It's the 9th date day, and it's got a little this is so much fun. I love seeing these things. Maybe some date stickers. Look, is my pitch showing? So happy National Medjool Date Day. I'm going to try again to see if I can find a way that I like dates. Chewy's like, I'll try them. So I just had to shout out for National Date Day. Everyone's got to go have some fun with it. So
I'm sure our audience will love to hear about your date night.
Date night at home. All right. Well, that's it for the Produce Reporter Week in Review. If you are not getting the Produce Reporter newsletter, you need to go to producebluebook.com and sign up. And she was like, what is going on in here? I got to check it out.
It's not a pizza, sorry.
Yeah, I know. He's like, is it a pizza? Can I eat it? No, Chewy, I don't think dates are good for dogs.
You'll notice I had to change my background because you must have watched the second half.
Didn't watch any of it. Not 1 second.
Oh, well, something
and ate lunch. I ate lunch.
Something happened because it turned into a turd.
Should have kicked that field goal. The first half, that's what I heard. Chickened out on a field goal, decided to go for it instead.
That's not chickening out. That's the opposite.
I know it's the opposite. I mean, it was trying not to play it safe. So yes, that is the opposite of chickening out. But yeah,
it's one of many things that didn't go right, and you could point to decision making, and very sad. So now you won't have to feel bad about missing the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I won't have to feel bad, but I will be reporting from, I mean, Fruit Logistica is not happening next week, but I'm still going. So I will be reporting from Berlin. I'm going to be doing a lot more thorough store checking because I'll be working. And so I'm going to find the coolest stores that I can while I'm there in town. And then I'm ending the trip. The reason I'm still going is because I was going to Zurich to spend some time with a friend. So we're going to see some different stores in Switzerland. So stay tuned.
I just saw Switzerland is opening up all their restrictions.
I know. Yeah, they actually didn't have that many restrictions. And now they're just like, okay, whatever. So sounds like fun times.